Okay, um, welcome each and every one of you for clicking this particular link and making out time to watch this particular video. And I trust something that is going to be worth your time. So I promised you that in 30 minutes I'm going to show you step by step some of the things that you need to know if you are going to if you hope to build a career in data analysis, and I'm going to just show you a few tips on some of this analysis in SPSS. So great. Now, but before we go into all of that, one thing I would like to take us through is the fact that data analysis is not something that exists in isolation. At the root of it all is the fact that there is research. So in research you're trying to find out something. So yeah, I would say that research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict and control observed phenomenon. So in the course of trying to understand something, in the course of trying to provide answers to questions which you do not have answers to, in the course of trying to solve problems, that is where you encounter data analysis, where you get to make use of available data, analyze data to be able to draw insights in it. And a core aspect of different kind of data analysis is the quantitative analysis that we are going to be doing, because numbers don't lie. In fact, most of the times in research, numbers are usually preferred, right? It's usually preferred to the qualitative analysis because it's more objective and it is less bias prone, as long as the data was correctly gathered, right? So now at this particular point in time where you are now dealing with such kind of data, then data analysis, quantitative data analysis, statistical analysis becomes very what paramount. And then again, another recent driver of the whole data analysis wave is the advancement in technology that has made it let me say easier and a lot more faster to be able to analyze large chunk of data. You can imagine where you're in those days where you have to do it manually, but now you have software packages and different programming languages that is geared towards data analysis, right? And even for some of us in the academic settings these days, they no longer accept manual based analysis. You're always asked to use a software package, either SPSS or what have you, in order to be able to analyze your data. So now, but just for this particular one, I would like to focus more on the quantitative based analysis that you're going to be doing. Now it is very much important because, like I said, quantitative based analysis is usually preferred in situations whereby objectivity is the goal, because it is less bias prone. And before you can be able to delve into quantitative based analysis, there are a few concepts that you need to understand, and this is the part most people miss it and they tend to get it wrong. So at every point in time you must be able to know certainly what variables that you are dealing with. You must be able to know what exactly that you're looking into. So whether you're studying the economy, probably, and when it comes to the economy, there are a lot of things that you could want to look at in the economy. So whether you're looking at the GDP growth rate, whether you're looking at the unemployment rate, whether you're looking at the effectiveness of economic policies, right, or whatever be the case, but you must be able to specify the objectives. You must be able to specify what exactly the specific areas that you're looking into, and these things become manifest as what we call the variables, right? And here in my screen I have that the variable is an attribute or characteristics of a population or phenomenon which holds value about that population, e.g. age, height of students, right? So good. Now since we now know what the variable is, another thing that is very much important is that you should know the different types of variables that you're dealing with, because all of these things affect analysis. So even with people that are used to analysis, even to people that are proficient in the use of some of the software packages that we have, I've also noticed some kind of errors. I've noticed some kind of mistakes, right? I've noticed some kind of mistakes around. So you find them using a particular analytical tool that is not suited for that particular variable. So here we have two types of variables. We have the quantitative variables and then we have the categorical variables. So sometimes you also see these categorical variables as qualitative variable. A typical example of this kind of variables is your gender, where you have male and female, so they don't have any kind of numeric expression. It just tells you that this particular participant or this particular person belongs to this class or belongs to this particular group. And then for the quantitative variables, now we have the continuous variables and we have the discrete variables. Now these are usually the kind of variables that have numeric expression, so they can be expressed in numbers. For instance, the ages of people, for instance, the heights of students. So heights of students are continuous based variables, and why that of age is discrete, right? So this is very much important. Now going forward, I'm still going to try to explain further and help you see why this is important. And then going forward again, another particular concept that you need to be aware of is that of data. So right, we said that data observe values of a variable that also refer to facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. So most times the information you're seeking, the answers that you're seeking, they are found in data, and it's now your ability to be able to collect the right data and analyze this data that is what will go a long way in determining whether you're going to have the answers that you seek or solve the problems that you're looking for. And then it's very much important that you know the different types of data you can be able to collect. So you can be able to collect a quantitative based data that has numerical expression. For instance, now I've talked about age, so you're dealing with ages of people, so you have to take records, you have to take counts of their ages. Or let's say you want to know the height. It's either you, if you are using a primary based method whereby you yourself will be collecting the data, then you have to go with a measuring instrument to collect the heights of people. But then if you're making use of secondary based data, then you have to pull out records of height. Let's say you're doing a study in Enugu State, you're doing a study in Lagos of the heights of people in Lagos, right? So you can be able to access records if available to be able to understand the heights of people and analyze this particular data. So another thing that is very much important that I would like to stress here is the fact that there are different levels of data measurement, and most people don't usually understand this particular concept, and that is why you see a lot of errors in analysis. So you see by somebody doing things like doing a linear regression on a qualitative based data, and it's not supposed to be. So for instance, now we have four different levels of data measurement. So we have the nominal level data, which is a qualitative measure of data. It can only be used to classify or categorize data, e.g. marital status and gender. So for this nominal level data, it's more like a qualitative based data, whereby all you tend to see is it's membership of class. So you don't perform it's not quantitative based data. So now we also have the ordinal level. It is also a qualitative measure of data. Ordinal data are ranked according to certain order, e.g. Likert scale or strongly agree, disagree. So we already talked about the nominal level data, that it merely shows you that this particular participant or this particular thing you're studying belongs to this category, belongs to this particular class. No numeric expression. So marital status, gender, all fall under this category. And then it's usually a very primitive level of data measurement, because there is limits to the kind of analysis we can be able to do on them. So at a basic level, all we can do with such kind of data is to take counts and take percentages. But then again, going forward, we now have the ordinal level data. So the ordinal level data is one that now introduces ranking, right? By introducing ranking, now it helps you to see preference. So you know that when somebody says that I strongly disagree against this government policy, you know that this person has a very, very high high displeasure for that particular government policy, as opposed to somebody that says that I just simply disagree, right? So ordinal level data is an improvement to the nominal level data, but in itself is still also qualitative data, and the kind of analysis we can be able to do on them is still limited when compared to other kind of analysis like the interval level data and the rest of them. So Very, very much important that you need to understand that. And then interval level data now we is the quantitative data, so they are expressed numerically, hence quantitative, and usually assume a set of finite values, right? So now this is also a quantitative based data. And then we also take the ratio. It is the highest level of data measurement. They express numerically and can assume a set of infinite values, right? So these two levels of data now, these two last levels of data, they are the actual quantitative data because they always have a numerical expression. And the depth of analysis that can be performed on quantitative based data on these two levels of data is much more in-depth than the other ones. In fact, it is the basis for some kind of analysis that we call parametric based analysis. So parametric based analysis, aside from one particular assumption about normality, that is the normality of the distribution, it also has an assumption that it's a continuous based variable, right? And most of the statistical analysis that we are going to be doing are usually parametric based analysis, right? So it's very much important that you understand these different levels of data measurement. But then we see an error most times where people go ahead to do nominal level data, use some kind of analytical tools on nominal level data, use some kind of analytical tools on ordinal level data, use some analytical tools that is not meant to be used for ordinal level data on an ordinal level data. For instance, now calculating mean on ordinal level data like Likert scale, or calculating calculating find using ordinal level data to build a linear regression model. These things are not correct because there are certain assumptions. There are certain assumptions of these models that has to be met, right? There are certain assumptions of this model that has to be met before the analysis can be performed on such kind of data. So at this particular foundational level, that is what somebody needs to know before you now start delving into statistical analysis. And trust me, the statistical analysis are so wide, several of them. So whether we are talking about parametric based analysis, whether we are talking about non-parametric based analysis, the statistical analysis to be done are so wide. And one thing I do advise people is that you need to have good statistical foundation if you want to launch into data analysis, because all these things, whether you're talking about SPSS, Excel, you're talking about Python, you're talking about R, you're talking about several of these tools. These things are just tools, but much of the work lies in you having the conceptual understanding of what you need to do, because that is what will inform your decision to to adopt the right approach and be able to make the right interpretation out of the output that your statistical tool is going to give you when you try to analyze your data. Because for instance, if you don't know what R squared in linear regression tries to explain, anything you put into SPSS is going to give you a result. But then whether it's going to be a true representation of what you're looking for, then that is where we now have a twist. Or whether you can be able to correctly interpret that, that is where the problem now actually lies. Right, so I know at this particular point in time, most of us we're already eager. Okay, let me start doing Python, let me start doing SPSS. But I want to tell you that firstly, you need to have an understanding of concept, and then you need to now before you delve into using these tools. And the good thing is that we have tried to be able to help you go through these foundations, and also using a very simple software package, SPSS, because unlike some of the other advanced tools like Python that most people do rush into, when you get to those things, the coding skills scares people away, right? So but with a software like SPSS, whereby most of the things that you're going to be doing is drag and drop, just to help you to be able to have an understanding of the concept before you now go into the more advanced tools like Python. So now at this particular point in time, if you're interested to be able to start a career in data analysis, then I beg you that this particular basic course in research and data analysis that we have prepared in SPSS, it's a must for you to take. It's a must for you to take, and the good part is that it is very, 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 very affordable. Very, very affordable. So thank you for subscribing, and I hope that this video meets you well, that it has taught you one or two things, it has opened your mind. So in case you want to know more about the research and data analysis course so that you can start, you can always send a mail to kenex.edu@gmail.com, and also with your emails that we've received, we're also going to send you some emails of the class schedules, and so that whenever you're ready, you can be able to join us in the class. So thank you very much, and see you in the classes. The class is research and data analysis in SPSS. The course have been prepared. It has five different modules that will take you step by step through statistical understanding, and also show you how to run several tests in SPSS, both parametric and non-parametric. We are going to cover descriptive analysis, both visualizations and also numerical based. We're going to cover the parametric test like the t-test, the one-way analysis of variance. We're going to cover regression. We're going to cover Pearson correlation. We're also going to cover the chi-square. So it's a fully packaged training for you that is going to take you from 0 level to A level. You can see that right here. Our goal always is to take you from 0 level to A level. So if you want to take that both step, then register for the class.